Hey everyone, welcome to Tech Thoughts with Nia and Ayush, where we dive deep into Paul Graham's fascinating essays. I'm Nia.
And I'm Ayush. Today's episode is going to be super interesting, trust me.
We're starting our AI podcast series by discussing Paul's essay about, you know, when to do what you love. This is actually episode 1, and I'm really excited about it.
Oh man, I've been waiting to talk about this one. Like, it's such a relevant topic, especially now when everyone's trying to figure out their career path and wondering if they should follow their passion.
Right. So what's the main debate here? I mean, people always say follow your passion, but it's not that simple.
Exactly. See, the thing is, Paul makes this really interesting point that it's not a simple yes or no question. Like, sometimes you should follow your passion and sometimes you shouldn't. But what's really fascinating is how he breaks it down.
Oh, yeah? Tell me more about that.
Well, you know how people always talk about following their passion? There's always this hidden instead of in there, like instead of what? Instead of making money, instead of stability. And that's where it gets really interesting because, well, sometimes these things actually align.
Hmm. Can you give me an example?
Yeah. So, like, take Bill Gates. Paul mentions how Gates absolutely loved running a software company. Not just the coding part, right, but actually running the whole business and dealing with customers. That's pretty rare, and that's exactly why it worked out so well for him.
Um, Speaking of money, doesn't Paul say something really interesting about making huge amounts of money?
Oh my god, yes! This is actually mind blowing. So, get this, if you want to make like hundreds of millions or even billions, it actually becomes super important to work on what interests you most. And the reason isn't what you'd expect.
Really?
Yeah, it's because the biggest startups often come from people just working on stuff they find fun. Like, look at Apple, Google, Facebook. They all started that way. It's crazy, right?
That's actually really interesting. But what about people who aren't sure what they want?
That's where it gets really practical. Paul talks about this thing called uncertainty proof choices. Like, if you're not sure what to do, make choices that keep your options open. He calls it staying upwind.
Can you break that down a bit more?
Sure. So, like, if you're trying to choose between majoring in math or economics, go with math because it's easier to switch from math to economics later than the other way around. It's all about keeping your doors open. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about something that really caught my attention. About looking at who your colleagues will be.
Oh, yeah, this is super important. Paul makes this really good point that you basically become like the people you work with. So if you choose work just for the money, you'll be surrounded by others who did the same. And that can make the job even more, well, soul sucking,
Wow, that's pretty deep.
right? And and the opposite is also true. When you choose work you genuinely love, you're mostly around others who love it too, which makes everything more inspiring.
So, what's the final verdict on following your passion?
Well, here's the thing. If you want to do truly great work, then yes, absolutely follow your passion. Like Paul says, it's actually necessary, not sufficient, but definitely necessary. But, and this is important, not everyone needs to or wants to do great work, and that's totally okay.
This has been really eye opening. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think the key takeaway is that it's not about blindly following your passion or just chasing money. It's about understanding yourself, being realistic about your goals, and making choices that align with both your interests and ambitions.
That's perfect. And remember, everyone, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share. We'll be back next week with another fascinating Paul Graham essay. I'm Naya.
And I'm Ayush, signing off from Tech Thoughts. Thanks for listening.